Good morning, Year 9. Welcome to your final lesson of the year for English. Well done for making it through, and thank you for being such a phenomenal class throughout the entire year. So what I would like you to do is, for your do now, I'd like you to write down what have been your highlights of the year for English. So this can be individual lessons, anecdotes, or whole units of work. Also, what is the most valuable skill or skills that you have learnt? So pause the video to jot down your answers. Okay, so I would like to share with you now some of my highlights, but these highlights all come from things that you've done and the experiences that you have created. So again, thank you for that. So we started the year with the speech unit. How could we forget? Such phenomenal speeches. I did not intend to hold a celebration, an awards ceremony for the speeches that you did, but they were so excellent, I felt that I couldn't not do it. And I could not bring in those fantastic animal stickers, which I'm sure you absolutely loved. So the speeches that have stuck with me all this time, Joe Cox, his amazing speech about why cats are, without a doubt, you cannot dispute it, the best pet. In fact, the best animal of all the animals. Liba and Karis did fantastic speeches about mental health, and of course, Dylan and his communism. Little did I know that would turn out to be a prevailing theme throughout the year. Like the theme in any good novel, communism would come back over and over again. The communist symbol would be drawn on my windows, and we would never forget it. Even the picture, I believe, was placed, the symbol was placed on the wall for many weeks. So I didn't realise it at the time, but all I knew was it was a very good speech. Maybe that should have been a warning. So, like I said, fantastic speeches during that first unit, and that's when I knew it was going to be a good year, or half a year. I didn't know about lockdown. Okay, and then of course, of Mice and Men, amazing voice acting, Dylan and Joe, fantastic double act as Lenny and George. I will always remember Joe Derrick crying when Candy's dog died. I thought throughout all of time I was the only one who cried when I first read that scene. Now there are two people. Joe, if you're listening, whenever I read that scene in the future, I will think of you crying. You're welcome. And I will also think of myself crying the first time I read it. So that was brilliant. And of course, can't talk about Of Mice and Men without remembering Jack Schwabe. I still don't know how to say your name. Schwabe, one of the two. And his ketchup essay. It was a joke. It started as a joke. But then he actually wrote, with Lucile's help, and I think Eloise's help too, a phenomenal essay about the use of ketchup in Of Mice and Men. Blew me away. Exceeded my expectations. Grade 9. Well done, Jack. I will always remember, whenever I read ketchup, I will always think of that essay. Okay, so I think that's all on Of Mice and Men. Poetry from different cultures. I will always remember, you're sensing a theme now, aren't you? I will always remember watching Flag by John Agard with you. That was probably my all-time favourite video. I had watched it before, but watching it with your class it elevated it to another level. And we watched it twice, I believe, and I will watch it many more times, I'm sure, in my career, but it will never be as good as the time I watched it with your class. I'm sure you loved that poem and will always remember it. Flag by John Agard. Let us salute that poem now. Okay, so poetry from other cultures, we have to also mention the yam, of course. Trying to remember what poem it was from, where all the people got taken away, having a mind blank. I did nothing, something like that. Someone did nothing over and over, and more people kept getting taken away, but he didn't mind as long as they didn't take the yam out of his savouring hand. And then at the end, Karma, he was the one to be taken away. So that was a great poem. I remember a delightful discussion about what yams are, and that was a very enjoyable experience. And so Poetry for Cultures, great times, and then finally creative writing. Your ghost stories were exceptional as always, though the absolute best one, of course, came from Talia, who wrote about the ghost of Mr. Sousa in room E3. Little did I know at the time that room E3 would not be my room come September. If I knew that, that would have been a really scary story. No one would have believed it. Though, saying that, Danny did actually talk about coronavirus spreading through the world. And of course, in his story, people turned into bats, which didn't quite happen. But actually, it was pretty accurate for a prediction, foreshadowing the horror that was to come. So great work, Danny. But yes, your ghost stories were fantastic. The Ghost of Mr. Sousa and her cat Leo was, of course, the best by Talia, but they were all really excellent. So well done. And of course, your Much Ado work has been really consistent, really solid. You've tried really hard. So I've been really impressed with that as well. And of course, I can't believe I forgot, going back to creative writing, the chocolate covered rice cake from Cara. I couldn't end this reflection slash train of consciousness. Sorry, it's quite late. Train of consciousness. Is it strain of consciousness? Stream of consciousness type lesson without mentioning, of course, Cara's chocolate covered rice cake. She even placed a chocolate covered rice cake in the room. So that was true dedication to her work. And even though that rice cake sadly did perish during a scuffle between said Cara and I think it was Joe, Derek, and Dylan, can't remember. But sadly, that rice cake did perish. But the memory of the rice cake, whose name I forget, will live on in the room, and the ghost of the rice cake will live on in E3, even if I'm not there to be with it. Okay, so I think that's everything, all the key moments. If I've forgotten a key moment, I do apologise. Feel free to email me or put it in your uploaded work. And like I said, I apologise. Can't remember everything, but I just think it's wonderful that we have so many memories. You have been an absolute joy to teach. All the laughter, maybe too much laughter, all the wonderful times we've had together, I really wanted to try colon, but I can't think of a third thing because, like I said, quite late and I'm quite tired. So imagine there's a third thing. You know about tricolons, you're experts, you can put your own one in there. So those are my highlights. I look forward to reading yours. And now for the actual lesson. I felt it was fitting to have a long introduction / tangent. You know why. So let's move on to the main part of the lesson, which is doing the quiz. So this is a summary quiz of everything you've learnt during this unit. It shouldn't be too onerous and there's nothing too tricky in there, so hopefully you do well. Feel free to resit it if you would like to improve your mark. So please pause the video to do that quiz now. The link is on class charts. Okay, so that brings us to the end of today's lesson. Sad, sad times. Can I just say, once again, ad nauseum, it's been an absolute delight teaching you. Hopefully our paths will cross at some point in the future. Unfortunately, unless the class list changed slightly, I don't think I'm seeing any of you in September. But of course there are day 11s and other activity days, and the class list may change, so nothing's set in stone yet. So I'm hopeful that our paths will cross in the future. If not, best of luck. You're all such talented, intelligent, and driven people. Gotta try colon last. So I'm sure you'll all achieve great success. You have wonderful personalities, great senses of humour, and you are just a delight to teach. And you'll do really, really well. So thank you, and for the final time, goodbye.